Welcome back. I'm now joined by Nigel St. Louis. I've been excited to have Nigel in the hot seat today. If you've just joined us for the first time, this is Hayes FM 91.8 and you are listening to the Health and Fitness Show. So every week I have in a different guest who we talk health and fitness with, and today it's Nigel St. Louis. So Nigel is a bodybuilder, he's a natural bodybuilder, and he's also an actor, and probably many other things as well, which he's going to tell me shortly. How are you, Nigel?
I'm good. Sorry,
right.
I'm running late today.
No problem at all. It's okay. It's good to have you here today. How was your Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas was good. You know, is what it is. It's more for the kids, I think. So spend time with my little boy, my 7-year-old, and that was fun. You know,
7. That's a great age to have Christmas.
Yeah, it's an awesome age. It's about the age I remember Christmas, to be honest. Anything back from that, I think I've forgotten. But from 7 onward, you sort of understand what Christmas is about and whatnot, you know. So, yeah, it was good.
And I'm sure the listeners are probably very interested, especially this time of year. What does a bodybuilder eat for Christmas dinner?
Anything. Do you know what? Christmas happens once a year. And I didn't hold back.
Exactly. So you just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just enjoyed it. That's what it's about, you know. I'm not... You know, I'm so regimented with how I eat most of the year. I think you have to relax at certain times of the year, and Christmas is one of those times, I think.
Yeah. And so you're a natural bodybuilder. What does that mean?
Okay, so bodybuilding is most people know bodybuilding. Most people have heard of Arnold Schwarzenegger and the like. So natural bodybuilding basically is simply put, you're tested. Before you compete, so you're drug tested, similar to the Olympians. You're drug tested. The only thing is with the Natural Federation in the UK, they go one step further in that they polygraph. You get a lie detector, similar to what you see on Jeremy Kyle. So yeah, you're polygraphed before you compete. So you get asked all manner of questions, such as have you ever taken performance-enhancing drugs and whatnot? So you can rest assured that 90% or 99.9% of the people that you compete with are natural bodybuilders, and that they're not taking performance-enhancing drugs. So that's what the natural status means.
So it just goes to show that it is all hard work and dedication in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you know, people are you meet youngsters these days and they're too quick to get big quick. Everyone wants to be Arnold Schwarzenegger in a day. And, you know, there are stuff out there that can enhance your physique. I choose not to go that way. I choose to do it what I call the right way, do it naturally. And, you know, that's the way I've always done it.
Mm-hmm. What's your history with fitness? Did you play any sports as a child? What got you into it?
You know, I started at a young age. I think my entire family was into sports in some way. I think my dad, my granddad, they're all into boxing. I always remember the era, the Mike Tyson era, and the Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran and Marvin Hagler and those sort of guys. I remember sitting watching those guys with my granddad. And most of my family were into boxing at the time. My mum was a huge boxing fan, believe it or not, Mike Tyson fan. And that's where the sports for me started. I played every single sport going as a kid, from football to cricket. You know, I tried everything. So I've always had some sort of interest in sports growing up.
Do you think men suffer from body image issues as well as women?
Yeah, of course.
Seems to be a big thing women talk about.
Yeah, I think the difference with men is we tend not to talk about it as much as women do. But yeah, I think men are, as you know, in the same way concerned about their body image as women are. You know.
Because to do something like bodybuilding, it's mainly based on aesthetics, isn't it, rather than being strong or lifting a certain amount of weight? Yes,
absolutely. It's all about how you look. The physique, you're judged by your physique on stage by 4 to 5 judges, and it's most definitely all about a look.
So what made you want to compete?
I've train for years. I mean, I really started training seriously when around, I'd say 24, 25. And I just decided, after watching a few videos on YouTube from some natural bodybuilders and unnatural bodybuilders, or the likes of Ronnie Coleman and whatnot, they sort of motivated me. I don't know if anyone's heard the name Ronnie Coleman. You could Google him. He's probably one of the biggest bodybuilder you'd ever see. But yeah, those sort of guys, Arnold Schwarzenegger, those guys motivated me. And I decided, I believe in 2011, to finally to compete. Simply because I've been training for a long time. Why not put myself out there and be judged by to be honest, that said, I was also interested in bodybuilding. I like the idea of it. I wanted to test myself against these guys, natural bodybuilders out there.
So you say you've been weightlifting for a number of years. Was there always like structured weightlifting sessions? How did you know what to do in the gym?
I just did my research. It's out there, guys. Everything's out there. You can go on YouTube, bodybuilding.com, those sort of website would help you. Their information's out there. You can buy magazines from shops and whatnot. So that's how I learned. I did my research. I went on YouTube. I looked at other guys training, professionals and whatnot, and I copied a lot of what they did. And eventually you find your own way, but initially you have to start off somehow, and that's how I learned initially.
Mm-hmm. So take me back to your first time competing, 2011. Yeah. How many weeks did you give yourself to train and diet?
Gave myself 12 weeks because that's what I read in a certain magazine, or I think I read it on the internet somewhere, that most bodybuilders dieted for 12 weeks. So I was I didn't have a clue, to be honest. I was fairly lean at the time. Luckily, I moved to the Oxbridge area. Started training at a gym called Active for Less. It was Flex at the time. And I met my coach, Des, who sort of led me in the right direction, gave me some pointers. But for the most part, Des gave me a diet plan. I followed a diet plan for 12 weeks. And, I like to say the rest is sort of history. But yeah, that's.
And what show was it that you first competed in?
The first show I did was, so there are 3 natural federations in the UK. There's a British Natural Bodybuilding Federation, that's the BNBF. There's a Natural Physique Association, and there is the United Kingdom Drug-Free Bodybuilding Association, the UKDFBA. And these 3 federations, they all you get tested before you compete. My first competition was with the BNBF, British Natural Bodybuilding Federation. It's BNBF Central. Now, I did the show thinking that I'd just see how I get on. I had no intention of, I wanted to do well, but I didn't think I'd do very well, because it's my first time. My coach was pretty confident in me, in my ability, but I wasn't, because I thought, this is my first time competing. I'd go and see what it's like, and hopefully I'd do okay. I'd come back in a couple of years' time and I'd do a lot better. It just so happened that in my first year, I won that show. Thinking about it now is still unbelievable to me. I won the BNBF Central. I think there's over 102 competitors, and to think that I beat everyone on my first on my first outing, my first show, it's I still find it hard to believe. And that sort of it sort of went on from there. Sort of escalated from there for me. I didn't realise I actually did have a talent for the sport, and my name was sort of out there now. So I'm Nigel St. Louis, the British Natural Bodybuilding Federation Central Champion, and that qualified me for the British finals, which I also went on to win. So in my first year, I was a British novice bodybuilding champion. Is
there a particular category that you were in?
Yeah, the novice class. So as a first timer, I entered the novice class.
So it's not based on size or anything?
As a novice, you're not... See, there are different categories, but as a novice, you could go in as, any weight. You don't have to be weighed as a novice. So you enter that category as a novice. You're not weighed, unlike if you're a heavyweight or a middleweight or a lightweight, which is different. You're weighed and you have to be within a specific weight category. The novices, you could be any weight. So
it's very different for men and women, isn't it?
It is slightly different in that I'm not too sure how the female categories work in terms of the weight. I'm not sure if you're weighed in before you compete or not. I don't think you are. And
height,
yeah.
Definitely height. Do they not do height with the men then?
No, height is not done in any of the natural federation. I know it's done in other federations, but not in the natural federation. No.
So obviously you did the novice because you were a beginner, and then since then did you have to go into a certain size category? Essentially, this is how it works. If you place in the top 3 in any novice class with a natural federation, as the top 3, you cannot compete as a novice again. If you finish 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever, then you could go back next year and compete as a novice. You cannot compete as a novice after if you've placed in the top 3. So having won the following year, I no longer compete as a novice. I had to compete in the weight class, and I was a heavyweight. So the heavyweight class was my next venture. How long does it take you to gain size though? Because I always wonder this, if people compete in like smaller categories as they build up and then just change the categories as they get bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's different. Everyone's built differently, genetically. Everyone's built differently, in terms of the muscle they could carry, the muscle they could develop over a period of training. I think for me, I always fell into the heavyweight category, as I was, I think I carried a lot of muscle. Whereas you have a smaller guy who's probably shorter than me, less built than myself, who will fall into the middleweight or the lightweight category. In terms of putting size on over years, I don't think it takes you that long to get to a certain size. I mean, I competed around my weight on stage is probably around 90 to 92 kgs, and I've been that weight since 2011 when I first started competing. My weight hasn't necessarily changed, but my physique has changed over the years, in that I've refined my physique and I've added bits and pieces to my physique which I needed to do, to look bigger, to look better, not necessarily getting heavier.
Is that what they call muscle maturity that they look for?
Yeah, that's if anyone's heard of the term muscle maturity, that comes with years of training, years and years of training. So you normally find that in the older guys, the guys over 40s and whatnot, that have got that raw muscle maturity that you don't see in the younger guys because you haven't got it at that age. Yeah.
What else do they look for? Generally,
the person with the best and most balanced physique wins the show. So they're looking for aesthetics, symmetry, muscle, the amount of muscle mass you carry. It's a bodybuilding show at the end of the day. So it's all about how big. It's not necessarily about how big you are. I've beaten guys who are a lot heavier than me. So it's not necessarily about being the biggest. It's about being the best all round. Having everything: shape, size, aesthetics, symmetry, muscle,
and posing.
Posing does help. I've been to shows where guys, the worst thing you could do is decide to compete. And if anyone out there who's thinking about competing, this is the worst thing you could do. You've been training for years, and you've got a great physique and whatnot. You've dieted for 6 months, and it's hard. Dieting is not easy, especially for a bodybuilding show. If you want to win and you want to do it properly, dieting is difficult. You do that for 6 months, and then you just leave out the posing part. I have no idea why people do this. And you go to a show and you see these guys, they've got great physique, but they're unable to show it off because they haven't practiced their posing. And posing is the most difficult thing you could do. Trust me.
I'm going to stop you there. We're going to take a little break to the local news, and we'll come right back to talk more about posing and the bodybuilding diet. Welcome back. So I'm still here with Nigel St. Louis, and we're just talking posing at the moment. And off air, he was telling me about doing some free poses. And I came to watch one of Nigel's shows, actually, and he has some quite unique poses. Do you want to talk to us about them?
Whether they're unique, I mean, yeah.
Well, the facial expressions.
I said you're on stage and you're being judged by guys who you don't know. You're putting yourself up there to be judged. So I think you have to make the best of your time on stage and present the best physique you can to be judged. Harping back to what we were talking about, say there are guys who've got great physiques, but they forget, or they don't practice their posing, which is I find ridiculous, because I said you're being judged by judges, and they want to see your physique as best as you can present it. So practice your posing. It's difficult. Again, it's difficult, but practice your posing if you're thinking about competing.
And how do you know how to pose?
Again, it's so you go through initially when you go on stage, you go through the mandatory poses. So that's your quarter turns.
Are they the same for each category?
Yeah. Every category is the same. So again, I did my research on YouTube. There's millions of videos on YouTube, bodybuilding videos on YouTube. You can do your research, and every federation, apart from the only time it was different, is when I went to France, when I competed at World Championships in Paris. And that's, normally you do a quarter turn to the left everywhere else. In Paris, you did a quarter turn to the right. And they spoke to you in French.
So you need to understand your right and lefts.
Yeah, so it's the only time, but it's the same principle. You just turn into the right instead of the left. So yeah.
So you never found yourself facing the wrong way?
No. I'm just so wary about making a fool of myself that I made sure. I actually waited for someone to go before me before I made my turn to make sure I was going the right way. So no, that never happened, thankfully. Yeah.
So you've obviously been very successful with your career in bodybuilding, and that's led. Was it actually your bodybuilding that led you to do some acting?
Yeah, sort of. Do you know what? It's one of those things. Again, acting was something I've always been interested in. Having competed and having won shows and having made a sort of a name for myself in the bodybuilding world, it sort of gave me the confidence to pursue acting a bit more. And I said I've always wanted to do it. It's just having the confidence to go out there and do it. It's like anything, really. If you're in your comfort zone, you're stuck in your comfort zone. It's easy to stay there and not put yourself out there. But yeah, it's sort of from bodybuilding led me to try to pursue acting a bit more than I did before.
Brilliant. Is that what you wanted to be as a child?
No, I actually wanted to be a pilot. Oh yeah.
So you didn't want to be a bodybuilder?
I wanted to look good as a child. I wanted to have muscles and get girls. That's then bodybuilding didn't, not necessarily as a child, didn't really wasn't something I wanted to be as an adult.
Okay, so going back to your diet and training, what sort of diet do you follow most of the time? So what we would call off season, I guess.
So my off season diet isn't that dissimilar to my competition prep diet. So it's I try to have a balanced meal each meal, and I try to eat roughly 5 to 6 times a day. That sounds a lot to a lot of people. Sometimes 7 times a day when I'm getting ready for a show. But it's small meals. I try to eat a meal every 2 to 3 hours, especially when I'm getting ready for a show. It's probably every 2.5 hours maximum. It's difficult fitting it around work, etc., but I just find a way to make it work. In the off season, when I'm not getting ready for a show, it's a little bit more relaxed, but eating is paramount. I cannot stress enough how much you need to have your meals. I see guys at the gym all the time. I've seen them in the gym for years and see them week in, week out, month in, month out, and they look exactly the same. And when you ask them, what are you doing? You know, you're at the gym all the time. Why am I not seeing changes? It's because they're not. You have to eat to recover. You have to rest. You have to eat to recover. You know, and these guys are not. A lot of these guys are not doing it. And it's something as simple as that: eat adequately, and eat the right stuff. You know, I'm not talking junk food. I'm not talking. And you know what when I say junk food, what I'm talking about. You know, all the information is out there. You know, like I said, YouTube, bodybuilding.com. The information is out there. Eat properly, and you know, hopefully you see results.
What's your top tip for nutrition?
You know, again, everyone's obsessed with protein shakes and this and that. Protein shakes are great. What you have to remember is that they're supplements. You know, protein powder is a supplement. It's not going to make you bigger. You know, you're not going to look like Ronnie Coleman or Arnold Schwarzenegger by drinking or having a protein shake. It's a supplement. So if you cannot have a meal, a protein powder, protein shake is a great supplement to have during the day between meals. Makes it a lot easier for you, especially when you're working. You can't necessarily pull out a meal, you know, start having it at your desk or whatever. That's where supplements are great.
All right, we're going to come back to some more questions about food right after this. Hello, welcome back. So I'm here with Nigel St. Louis and we're talking healthy food. So Nigel, what's your favourite healthy food?
My favourite healthy food, it changes, to be honest. I think at the minute it's probably sweet potato.
Can't go wrong with a good sweet potato.
You can't go wrong with sweet potato. I've actually just recently found sweet potato chips at Asda's. Apparently they've been around for a while, but I didn't know of it. I love, you know, that's probably my favorite at the minute. Meat wise, I'd say salmon probably. I love a bit of salmon.
I love a bit of salmon.
Yeah, so yeah, that's probably my favourite sort of meal at the minute.
I love how you still think in terms of macros. You're thinking of your meat and your carbs.
Yeah.
Would you not have like a meal?
Very rarely.
A healthy meal that you've made. Do you cook?
I
Do you get time to cook?
Yeah. I mean, I have to. I have to. Well, when I say cook, I grill everything. So
you can bung it all together and make a nice omelette.
You know, I wouldn't know where to start. That's the problem.
So we'll take it as a no. Then you don't really cook.
I don't know. No, I grill stuff. And, most of my food I eat quite bland, which I don't mind. I think over the years I've gotten used to eating that way, so it's yeah, it's okay with me.
All right, so I have to ask you this now. What's your favourite cheat meal? So if you were allowed anything, what would it be?
What a question, is cheat meal. Favourite cheat meal? Nando's.
So chicken again.
Yeah. Yeah, chicken flavoured differently. Nando's probably one of my favourite.
What's the hardest part of your diet prep?
Do you know you probably said it in a question, is prep. That's it. It's getting the meals ready, and that's the thing, and that's the biggest thing is planning and preparation, and it prevents poor performance. You know, you have to plan and prepare. So, you know, I work sometimes 12-hour shifts, and, you know, last thing I want to do when I get home sometimes is start grilling chicken breast and boiling rice and measuring it out and whatnot. But if I plan in days in advance and I make these meals and put it in the fridge a couple of days in advance, and you know, then all I have to do is heat it up and put it in my bag, or take it into work with me the next day, you know. So that's the hardest thing is planning and preparation. You don't want to leave it last minute. You don't want to get home from work, sit down, put your feet up, and next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock and you're ready for bed because that's easy to do. You have to plan and prepare properly, I think.
And in terms of training, do you ever have those days where you just have to drag yourself to the gym because you're really not feeling it?
I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh no, I'm always up for it, man. I'm always at the gym. I'm always ready to." No way. There are days when when you look out, especially we live in the UK, man. We live in London, and the weather is not the best, as we know. If you lived in the Caribbean, you live in Miami, somewhere where the sun's always shining, it's easier. It's easier to get up and motivate yourself to go for a run, to go down the beach, to stay fit. I think anyway. Sometimes you get home from work or whatever you do, and you look outside. It's dark, it's cold, it's wet, it's raining. The last thing you want to do is go to the gym. The last thing you want to do is but it's just I do it anyway, and that's the difference.
Is there any mottos or anything that you use to motivate yourself when you're feeling like that?
Not necessarily. I just my motivation comes from I've got a little boy, and I know he's watching me. He watches everything I do, and he mimics a lot. He's only 7, but he mimics everything I do. And my motivation changes from the time I started bodybuilding to now. And at the minute, he is my biggest motivation. I know he's watching everything I do. I know he's already asking me about eating chicken breast and sweet potato. He wants a 6-pack. So,
he's a mini you then.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my motivation. I don't necessarily have any quotes as such that keeps me motivated. But you have to. Everyone out there, you have to find something that motivates you. I think we're all different. A quote wouldn't necessarily motivate some people. I don't know. You find something that motivates you, or something that makes you want to go to the gym. Whether it be your health, whether it be that you want to look good for summer. Most guys do. Don't wait till summer to start going to the gym, because it's too late by then.
Yeah, your summer body's made in the winter, isn't
it? Exactly. That's actually a great quote. Summer bodies, are made in the winter.
So talking of summer and next year, and today we've been discussing New Year's resolutions. Have you set any for yourself? Again,
I'm not a big, I won't say a fan of it, but I don't do the whole New Year resolution thing. It's every year my thing is that just to be a better person. That's it, really. I don't have any major plan. I think if you're going to do something, you don't need a date to change your mind. It's a great motivation probably for some people. You've got a date in mind. I'm going to do it from this date, or from the 1st of January I'm going to do this. But why not do it now? Why not start now? Why do you need a date?
So what's next for you? Have you got any work lined up or any competitions next year?
Yeah. So for me personally, it's this year I won I became a professional bodybuilder. Having won the World Championships in Atlantic City in America. So my plan is for, if I do compete next year, which I'm about 50-50 in a minute, if I do compete next year, to compete as a professional on a professional circuit, and that will mostly be in the States. So start off in the UK. There's a show in the UK I would be doing, and then there's another show in Switzerland, and most of the other shows are in America. So that's the plan. I'm also got a couple of films that I'm doing, that I'm working on. So yeah, I've got. I think 2016 is going to be a good year. So
if you could go right back to the beginning, the start of your fitness career, and give yourself any advice, what would it be?
Train legs. Never skip leg day. It's I mean, when I started off, legs didn't concern me. I was more interested in building my upper body, building big arms, and having a massive chest, because the chicks digs a guy with big arms and chest. So that's all I was interested in. Little did I know that I needed to train my legs as well. You look ridiculous. So that would be my biggest tip for everyone out there. Make sure don't skip leg days.
Do you find it hard to train legs? Like, do you find the muscles build up less easy than other muscles? I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and especially calves.
Yeah, I think calves are genetic things. Genetic thing. You see some guys who've not trained a day in their lives, the biggest calves ever. And whereas someone like myself, calves are not bad, but they can be improved. I think genetically I haven't been gifted with the best calves. But yeah, that's not to say you can't improve it by working on it. Like, you can improve any part of your body.
And never tell people your flaws, because they might not notice something you do.
Yeah, true. And I've just told you what mine is. So any judges
so we'll look out for those.
We'll be looking out for my tiny calves, but.
So if anybody listening would like to come and support you in the future or follow you on social media,
I've got on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. It's Nigel St. Louis. It's my name, or at The Symmetry, TheSymmetry. That's at The Symmetry on Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram. And you'd find me there, and I'm always happy to answer any questions anyone has in relation to fitness or bodybuilding. I do get a lot of questions, so just be patient. If I don't answer your question straight away, don't send me an abusive message 5 minutes later after calling me your hero. Just be patient. But yeah, that's how you can find me.
Brilliant, thank you. Thank you for taking the time today to come and speak to everybody.
No problem. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully I do it again sometime.
Thank you. So, we got Swedish House Mafia now, and Don't Worry Child.